Ducks don't get cold feet. This is number 44, and we are privileged to have here James Donald Forbes McCann.
It's great to be here.
He's a writer, stand-up comedian, composer, poet, critic, rapper.
You got to have a lot of names and a lot of titles, or people don't respect you.
Motivational speaker, social media influencer, radio presenter, self-help guru, and captain of industry.
That's correct.
Now, I'm assuming he might have some letters after his name.
No, I dropped out of university pronto. I got my BA and I was gone. And I submit in terms of captain of industry stakes to present company.
So he has done a fair bit, and you know he's definitely got a face that's good for radio.
Thank you. Well, they don't let me on radio anymore. I've been removed from radio.
You are behind many things, and I welcome you on Ducks Don't Get Cold Feet.
It's a pleasure to be here. I tell you, one of my great hopes is to have a supermarket empire. I don't tell a lot of people that except my wife when I'm shopping. And I've never prepared as much to be either a guest or to have anyone else on my podcast as I have today. So if I may.
Yes. All right. Yeah. You may go into the deep. I must admit, he's come in quite official today. I actually couldn't find my tie. And James has actually come in all official today. He's dressed up. I'm calling him, he looks like Harry Potter.
I can't believe you haven't shown me the respect of putting on a tie. Absolutely disgraceful. Frankly. I have. You may have my tie if you need it. I have some. I need to. Is
that a crow's tie?
No, I got it in an op shop. It has echidnas on it. Question number 1. Now, are you familiar with the Red Rooster line?
I love Red Rooster.
Here is a. Now, where do I hold it up?
I absolutely love Red Rooster. A Red Rooster, a rooster roll.
Oh, they're wonderful.
Microwave chicken mayo with a bucket load of barbecue sauce on the top. Pow.
An Australian icon.
Yeah, I don't know what is there.
But look at this. It's only found in Western Sydney. That's how you know the location of Western Sydney is where the Red Roosters are. If you chart all the Red Roosters on the map of Sydney, that's the East-West Sydney divide.
Oh my
now,
God.
Similarly, Melbourne. How do you find what's the big divide in Melbourne? I'll tell you. It's where the Gormans are, right?
Okay.
That's Gormanistan. That's just all the Gormans, and that's the only bit of Melbourne you'd want to live in. If you look closely, that's correct.
Well, I like that more Box Hill.
Box Hill's fine.
Glen Waving.
St Kilda is an anomaly. You wouldn't find me in St Kilda.
Is it in there or not?
No, it's Gorman. But you see up here in the north, nothing. Down here, the Frankston area, no Gormans. Western suburbs, Footscray, not a Gorman in sight. Can you see where this is going?
Something's going on here.
Where are the Drakes in the eastern suburbs of Adelaide? Now, you've got a sort of like, what would you call that, a West Berlin type situation?
No, it's a mini. It's a tiny.
Unley, a Burnside, Norwood, this whole region
Beaumont,
crying out for a Drakes. Where is the Drakes in the eastern suburbs of Adelaide?
I know. I feel I've got a bit of work to do.
I think you can compete. I think you work I think Drake's as a brand is going to work in the eastern suburbs. This is where all of all those new contenders for like the hip Adelaide independent supermarket are. The Frueville.
Yep.
Who else? Mr. Nick's Pasadena.
Great, fantastic supermarket.
Absolutely. We would never denigrate the competition. And Aldi is now sweeping across. But this is prime Drake's real estate.
So instead of Coles on the parade, it should be Drake's.
That's what I'm saying. I'm anti-Coles. I'm openly anti-Coles. You don't have to be. And edit out anything you don't want up there.
No, I am anti-Coles. Don't worry about that. You're not alone here. I'm excited. I'm getting questions.
Oh, wow, there's so many more. Well, that's the first one. Is I wanted to.
Well, I can see
because there's a history, right? Where there was Drake's IGA
up. There's no doubt.
In the office, right on the wall. This is the hit list.
So I'll give you a bit of a brief history so you can.
I'd love it.
So Tom the Cheap, it's where it all started many moons ago. Mm-hmm. And then from that, if you look at my old man, he was with Coles.
Yes.
And then, unfortunately, he didn't make it.
Okay.
Yeah, he got told he'd never make it in the industry. So he left and started a 3-lane supermarket in Mitcham.
Yes.
It's now a clothing store.
Okay.
So then, Drake's, Torrensville,
That's
Battleground.
the flagship first.
Battleground. battleground, first flagship store. In fact, they still think my old man's Greek. They call him Dracos.
Well, that helps in
you need to put that up on your own sort of effort. That's the first one.
Yep.
And that's where it started. We didn't get on the eastern seaboard because Dad lived in Modbury.
Yep.
So we concentrated around all the areas where he lived. So hence why we missed out on all this valuable land.
Which is now ripe for taking, I believe. Because
I think it's
the
ripe
eastern
for
suburb,
taking.
it's an older group of people. It's this is where I also wanted to ask about demographics and where people live and how you have different shops for different areas.
Yeah, we do that.
But this is where this is a Chinese area in large part. Increasingly, this is where I spent some time here. I went to school over here.
You don't look that Chinese, but I'm assuming you.
I have almond eyes. I have beautiful almond eyes. And it's older people who struggle with the technology that's being brought in. This dystopian tech at your Coles and Woolworths, the real customer surveillance. You can't find a person anywhere. I've been going to Drake's recently and briefing on finding out about what I would ask at this great opportunity. There's always people to help you buy stuff on the way out. I actually haven't seen a self-serve yet. Do you have any self-serve?
Yeah, we have a couple, but they're more self-assistance.
Yes.
So we have someone there at all times helping people if they want to do that. Some people just want to grab two things and go through it, but let's face it, anyone scanning their own products, you might as well get a job with me.
Well, I mean, you go to a fancy Coles or something, it may be in the, and it's just 57 scan yourself out, and then 2 security guards looking at you in a nasty. It's a weird, threatening environment that I think as they increasingly bring that in, that's not an eastern suburbs vibe.
It's not, is it?
I think they'll be alienated. That's my guess.
So Coles should be right for the picking.
Well, they've decided to go in that direction. I think in part because they're a public company and they've got people on their board who are insisting that if Woolworths is going in this direction, they have to. And I think you have a freedom as a private company to rebel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm with you, but I think maybe we'll start picking off the weaker foodlands.
There are some weak foodlands. I want to. What's the orange one? Food Works.
Yeah, Food Works.
I've found one good Food Works. There's one really good.
Where's that?
It's over. It's near. It's Brompton way.
Okay, yeah.
And there's one good one, and I was shocked because I don't understand their corporate structure. I've tried to look it up. It's insane. I don't know why it exists. It's national. I've never seen them advertise.
Yeah, they
seem to have no national control over any of them.
They act as like a co-op where they give people the tools to be able to run a supermarket, but they're all individually owned.
There's one uptown where they don't sell tampons.
You're joking?
No, my wife tried to buy tampons there years ago, and they said they're dirty. We don't sell those. And I thought that's unusual. Okay, anyway, I thought I'd get some clarification on that.
No one's ever drawn it up like this, but you've got a very valid point.
But now, what can you do as a private business that they can't? So you're going to knock off the Foodlands first because they're.
I don't think you can be competitive by having one store unless it's a special store like a Fruiville or like a Pasadena or like a Norwood Foodland. They're all fantastic. But if it's just ho-hum, I think you'll be getting eaten up because you can't compete in price. If you go through a third party as a provider and you're not supplying the groceries from your own warehouse or your fruit and veg from your own warehouse or your meat from your own warehouse.
You can't compete.
No, because you're paying. People got to understand that these other stores are paying people for that privilege.
Yes.
We're not.
You can go over and above. But you've had to rebuild those relationships.
So we got rid of IGA, we got rid of Foodland, and we've gone Drake's. We have declared Drake's. I
feel like you were about to say war, and at the last minute you pivoted and said Drake's. But that means you had to build that, right?
Absolutely.
From scratch.
Once we had a warehouse.
Yes, and the warehouse is this
3 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what changed the whole dynamics of the supermarket interface right here in South Australia. The grounds have been drawn. Mm-hmm. Let's just say there's going to be a few more exciting battles along the way.
Okay. Well, look, I think you can knock some of these off because even the big ones, the fancy ones, I think they're making some mistakes. The Fruiville, they've got such a lovely bakery. The bakery section is great, but they have put it next to the enormous fishmonger. There's a very no negativity. It's an extremely fishy
smell
shop. Yeah.
See,
I can see where they've gone. We want a lot of fish. No one's doing big fishmonger.
Yeah.
But also, there's a reason.
Fruiville or Pasadena?
No, Fruiville. Am I thinking of the right one? Yeah. Enormous fish section.
Yeah.
Now, these people, they're also all in bottle shops as well, though.
They
tend to be.
Other people.
The other people.
Like
the competitors.
Coles and
But is there no alcohol dimension to the Drake's business?
Yeah, we got 5 liquor stores,
Okay.
6 liquor stores, celebration stores.
Okay.
And with the rules so backwards here, you would assume that, when people go into a grocery store, buying a bottle of wine makes sense.
Yes.
No, it doesn't. Not here in South Australia. You used to in the old days get licenses. So every hotel you bought, you got 3 licenses within a 5K radius that you could open a liquor store.
Right.
That's why Coles and Woolworths bought every hotelier out in a day, and they all cleaned up.
Yes.
So they just cashed up.
I never knew why they owned. Because, Woolworths owned the Exeter, I think, for a time.
Yeah, well, I'd just put it out there to people listening that they own probably 70% of all pubs and clubs out there owned by Coles or Woolworths.
And they also own...
No, they're corporate citizens. So now the Endeavour Group opens them, which Woolworths just happens to be a shareholder of. But, there's...
A controlling shareholder, maybe.
Yeah, I did a little one on that one. But, yeah, this is the world we live in. We live in a duopoly.
Well, then they also own Dan Murphy. Like Dan Murphy's and BWS are owned by the same... I think both are Coles.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan Murphy's of Woolworths, actually.
Dan Murphy's is Woolworths.
Yeah, BWS. Yeah.
But every other state has liquor in a grocery store. Victoria does? New South Wales does?
But not Queensland where we are, and not South Australia where we are. It appears to be... Well, you think about it. Coles and Woolies have overpaid pubs that the guys in the pubs in the day have walked away very handsomely.
Yes.
Now, you imagine bringing in a rule where you can just open up a liquor store now where you didn't need to overpay for that. They're big investments, so they'll be controlling that as well. They control everything. It's not a conspiracy show. But
no, I mean, I think this is what I think is nice about South Australia in some parts, other than the inability to control the sale of liquor, which you would think as the big producers of wine we would have... have more independence there. But is South Australia, are there more privately owned family-run businesses here?
There's more. So family businesses, there's a number. Family businesses in total make up a huge part of independent business, we'll call it. But family businesses make up a huge percent of retailing.
Yes.
But when you start to talk about retailing, Coles, Woolworths...
Yeah.
So people put it in perspective, every $100 you spend in retailing, whether it's at Target, Big W, Kmart, Liquorland, Petstock, whatever, $70 of that goes to Coles and Woolworths.
Have they got Petstock?
Yes, absolutely, mate.
I just used their toilet.
Okay.
Yep, it wasn't great. I got to say, thank you, because it was next to the Drake's.
Okay.
And I just needed a bathroom on the way here while I was researching. It was very nice of them to let me use it. I shouldn't talk. It was great that they had a bathroom.
So I don't think people know this enough, but...
I didn't know Petstock was owned by them as well.
Yes.
So are these Australian companies or somewhat Australian companies? The Coles and Woolworths, because they're public, but it's not clear you can't find out easily who owns controlling
Wesfarmers,
shares.
that was combined with the Coles takeover, and they've spat Coles out by themselves now, so they're not in part of the Wesfarmers group. They were part of the Wesfarmers group.
Yeah, they cut them loose.
Yeah, and they basically cut them loose. Yeah, that's exactly what they
And they cut Officeworks loose as well, which I can't believe. I was a big Officeworks fan.
Mate,
I remain a big Officeworks fan.
Do you?
I just love printing.
You actually do. I wish they own so much, mate. It's actually very. It's a lot. And you wouldn't even, as a consumer, you would have no idea about exactly how much it goes to the Coles and Woolworths brand.
So Drake's is, I think, the only privately owned Australian interstate supermarket. I did a lot of research. I couldn't find one other one.
That's close. I think I can claim that we are the only vertically integrated family business, independent. We're the largest vertically integrated family business.
I don't know what vertically integrated
So
means.
we own the wholesaling and the retailing components.
Yep.
So, you look at other big groups out there, Romeo's and Chapleys, they just own the supermarket. So they buy from a third party.
So something like IGA is an American company.
It is
that's
American, and they do
Australia.
affiliations here, which they somehow they do affiliations here in Australia. They came and did a deal where you used to have Drake's, Foodland, IGA.
Yeah.
And everyone was confused.
Who is this?
Yeah, who is this? And
it's a lot of people getting paid off. And you just said 3 years ago, we've got our own warehouse.
Yeah, we went out on our own Drake's.
Okay.
And to make people feel more comfortable is that, Foodland's a great brand, but we can control our destiny now.
Yes.
We could never do that before. Where you look at anywhere that you see, like if you go to America, there's almost no independent retailers anymore. It's really just, it's Walmart, Kroger, and they all just get eaten up.
Wawas is what I'm seeing a lot more at the moment. People love Wawa. But they also have more, I think they don't have a duopoly as much. They have more franchises that cover the country. But they don't have, like McDonald's doesn't dominate America like it dominates Australia.
Wow, you're very insightful here, mate.
I spend a lot of time on Wikipedia.
So basically, Australia is the only country in the world that lets someone have such a monopoly over the market.
Yes.
We call it a duopoly here. So in America, you can't be a bigger share. You can't be bigger than 20% market share in supermarkets.
They call that a monopoly. Over 20%.
You can't be more than 20.
You can't be more than 20.
So Coles and Woolworths here are 37 and 30-something%.
Yep.
And people don't understand how powerful that is. That means, so for instance, I can talk on behalf of us. We had a site, and we had the site that we thought we had the site, and then they came around a bit later and said, no, sorry, mate. Coles have come in and offered more money.
Just to prevent you getting a site there.
Yeah, and then
potentially.
Which then makes a site. For us, we can't sit on a site and lose millions and millions of dollars, where they'll buy a site strategically and lose millions.
But there's no public goodwill for Coles and Woolies in Australia. People don't like them.
Yeah, but
they use them because they have to and because they're everywhere.
Yeah,
and they can.
People are lazy, and people go to wherever the supermarket is the most convenient for them.
Yes,
because the problem is, you talk about Coles, or Wesfarmers, Bunnings, Catch of the Day, Target, Kmart, Officeworks, Coles, and then you throw in the flybys, which hook you in for things you never eat. Clean Eat, mate, Clean Heat just keeps on going on and on and on and on and on.
But there could be a political answer. I mean, they must give huge amounts of money to politicians. Like, it must be a silly. Again. Edit heavily. I don't want to.
We don't edit
business strategy.
We actually don't edit on the show. So.
Someone may have to edit some of this. There'd be huge amounts of money going out from each and every one of their companies to every politician's campaign to have rules like you can't sell bottles of wine in a grocer because that benefits their duopoly.
Yeah, I think you've got to understand. So Coles and Woolworths, they have a lot. So they're trying to do things and say the right things, like say, hey, we won't sell cigarettes anymore because they're bad for you, because we're worried about everyone's health and well-being. But some could say they're only doing that so they can try and grab the chemist trade. So because they're the corporate citizen, I mean, you can't run a chemist, can you, and sell cigarettes, can you?
That was one of my favourite things in America, is that you go to a drugstore to buy your your vitamins, and you get a $4 packet of, well, not Winfield Blues because they don't sell those there, but the cigarettes at the drugstore was unbelievable.
Yeah, and so they're trying to set this corporate citizen.
We're healthy. We love the Mardi Gras.
I think they've just gone so woke. It's becoming ridiculous about the things that we're seeing. And, we're seeing things like they won't sell certain foods on the front end because they don't have more than a 4-star rating. And, they're making decisions for people solely to make themselves look better.
Yeah.
If that's what it's called, looking better. I don't know. What do you like when you take the kids to the front end? Are you scared? Don't buy that. Don't touch that. You can't have that.
I'm very harsh with the children.
Yeah.
But I think, is it because they're public companies, so they don't really get a choice in terms of the CEOs running those companies? You would have to make the woke choice, or there are systems in place to try and get public companies to do what is the woke orthodoxy.
Well, this is such a
For example, this is definitely cut this one. But if the CEO of Coles said, "I don't think we're getting good money on
Stephen Kane
helping the Matildas, even, or some big, having every shop turn into a pro Matildas thing," the heat on them would be huge, and so they'd be forced to take the loss and still do that campaign or things like that. Or,
I don't think anyone's got any. I think
I actually like the Matildas. Yeah, but that was one example.
But I don't think there's no one that isn't excited about an Australian team, getting so far.
I was trying to have a less politically divisive example than the Mardi Gras thing that they got behind.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so people don't mind that.
Yes.
In general, good on it. We're supporting it. We're pretty parochial. Australians are pretty parochial behind it. It could be a darts team. If we were watching it, they'd be getting right behind it.
I wish we could compete with the Brits at the darts.
That's right. Yep. So we can't. So when you look at the other side of the fence where you're talking, you start going down a whole rabbit hole of alienating groups by giving them other groups. I just think you're doing everything against what we should all be doing, and that we should welcome anyone, regardless of any letters or numbers or whatever you identify.
It's also a shop that sells food.
Correct.
So hopefully politics shouldn't come too strongly.
Yeah, they must, and they do. And you can see some of the decisions. There are people in charge of these big companies here. There are people actually in charge of, they're called wokeness. There are people in.
What are you looking up?
I'm looking. There's titles now.
Oh yeah.
That all their role is making sure that
politically correct police working in the
pretty much.
Yep.
And I guess Coles, Woolworths, they both make over $1 billion profit. You can afford to have someone sitting in an office earning $100,000, making up all sorts of rules and regulations, and they just would rather do that than cop the heat. But at some stage, and you'll start to see it, people are standing up for what they think's ridiculous. And
it's inefficient to think like that, right? Like at some point, the products get worse, and the money is too expensive. You become hobbled by regulation.
Well, you look at the vaccination, but they were quick to jump on. You've got to be vaccinated to work at Coles and Woolworths. So, how does that help someone that understands they're working in a place with lots of people coming around? How does that help you if you've been working for a business for 10 years, 15 years, you're 55 years old, you've never done anything wrong, and all of a sudden you wake up and you can't go to work? Yeah. Because you don't want to be vaccinated. Is that...
that is the tip of the iceberg of bad shit they were doing during the fact that they got to continue to operate and everybody else got shut down, and that they already had fleets ready to go and do delivery at people's homes is nutty, right? The wealth movement to the big companies who got to inform government of what would be a good way to keep society going.
Absolutely.
They kept the bottle shops open, and the reason they gave was that alcoholics would die otherwise. Yeah. You could have had doctors sending out little bottles of Jack Daniels to people if that was important, but we had to make sure that I could go out and buy a six-pack. Didn't make a lick of sense. Excuse me.
Well, now we have the equality, diversity, and inclusion advisors now. And do you think that they're making your life better?
I've been at so many companies where they have a list of 57. It's all about teamwork, inclusivity. I won't go down that rabbit hole. I do nothing but go down that rabbit hole. It's just, they do it also so it's easier to control people and sack them for not living up to our values of inclusivity, or like whatever. You want to have people live in a state of fear while they're working for you, I believe. Certainly when I was in commercial radio towards the end, just before I came to Southern Cross Austereo, their slogan that they lived by was hire and retain the best. So cool. Such a cool way to run a company. By the time I got there, it was like the 7 pillars of... And it's like diversity, inclusion, lending a helping hand, just like insane. And every company has this weird rainbow of inclusive language that means nothing and is not incorporated in any way. Excuse me, I apologize.
No, mate, I love this because this is what we see all the time, and I think true leaders need to stand up, draw a line, and be prepared to take the good and the bad.
Well, look, I'm a big fan of yours and your company, and I want to help give you the edge. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen Dragon's Den or Shark Tank.
Yeah.
I have some business opportunities and ideas to pitch to you now.
This will be fantastic.
All right, number one, shandy in a can. Canned shandy. Sounds like hand shandy.
Yeah, it does sound
so
like
that's cheeky.
Hand. Yeah. So candy shandy.
No one has a shandy anymore. Everyone knows what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to drink beer. You go to a live event. No one wants to drink a light beer in South Australia. There's no market for that like there is in Queensland. Shandy in a can.
So there's no shandy in a can.
There's no shandy in a can.
Beer and champagne.
It might be, it's beer and lemonade, and I'm told there might be some chemical reasons why they don't do it. Like the lemonade starts to turn alcoholic.
But I
and
like
things
it.
explode
Maybe,
or whatever. But I think it must be possible.
So at Fringe,
yes,
before your show, if you have one, could you have a shandy station? Test the market.
I think there's different licensing that goes into that. But I'm going to be in America, I think, for this year's Fringe. So I'm trying to hire a James McCann impersonator to do my show this year. I'm still finding out.
Look, he's on the right track.
You'd be excellent. But no disrespect, I am trying to find a disabled woman of colour. I think that would really open me up to a new market.
All right.
Canned shandy.
I like it. It's got a good note to it. Sexy.
Number two, I go through town on a weekday and there are all these office blocks, all these white-collar workers.
Empty. Oh, okay.
Oh, no, some of them are working.
Yep.
I think of the Telstra call centre that I used to work in. A terrible, lifeless existence. And they all go out and they buy their lunch. And you want something a little exciting, but you don't want the tyranny of choice. Here's my idea. It's a authoritarian-themed sandwich shop called No Choices. They sell one sandwich. That's it.
North Korean all over.
Yeah, you do a North Korean-style sandwich shop.
Yeah.
And that's it. You one per person. No changes. No cheese. No cheese. The sandwich is already made.
Free. No vegan.
We do vegetarian on Fridays out of respect for the Catholic Church. That's it.
I like this.
Fish Friday.
I like this.
No choices.
What's some other flavours you think that people wouldn't get offended by?
Well, here was my thought. No, let them get offended. They don't have a choice. But I was thinking that you're in a good position to make this happen because you can change what's in the sandwiches depending on the market, right? Like things go up and down in price. It's the same quality, but maybe turkey's cheap, for a couple of weeks.
So I got a spin on this for you.
Hit me.
Why don't you have a Dow Jones sandwich market? So
it sounds more complicated.
So you have a list of all the sandwiches.
Yes.
And then each of those by what people want for the day.
I should like that.
But they don't get that, right? This is what they want. Doesn't mean you get it. Right? This is the authoritarian. And let's say I want ham and cheese. Boom, boom. And the higher it is, you don't get it.
So what?
You go on the lower stock market because that's the cheapest one.
Yeah.
Bang, you make that, send it out to everyone.
Oh, hold on.
Well, maybe the highest one.
But you could just do that.
And you just float the market.
But once they ask, I agree on floating the market. Yeah, but you could just give them that sandwich. Don't let them have a choice. That's what I'm saying.
They have to vote. To get a sandwich, you've got to vote. How do you... It's a supply and demand. That's how the market works.
I'll leave that to you. I like the thought of not voting. Because I like telling people what to do and having an iron fist and being in control.
Up the market. You say they'll get what they want. Here's all the sandwiches, and then you just pick one at random, Google, boom, that one, bang, we made it.
I like that immediately North Korea was not enough of a tyranny for you, and you've gone to the stock market as something more evil and oppressive.
Corrupt.
Yeah. I got another one.
Fuck, we're on to this. Could be big.
A feature film. This one will lose money.
Okay.
It's a feature film with a budget of between $100,000 and $250,000.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right, cool. We're going back into the bag. Looks like
it's called Brad's Glove, and it's in this manila folder. Looks like we've got I finished writing it last week. Now I'll allow you to see this. It's a real film script.
It is real.
And
you've written this?
I've written a film
personally?
script. Yes. I will answer any questions you may have about that script and investing in this once in a lifetime opportunity.
Well, maybe I need to read the script.
I don't know why that would be necessary.
So has it got something to do with the supermarket?
I'm open to it having something to do with the supermarket.
So what was it called again?
It's called Brad's Glove. It's about a man who is given a very charismatic glove and must learn to live with the consequences.
So is this like, I'm just putting it out there, I'm a massive Jim Carrey fan.
Yes. like The Mask.
Is this like The Mask but with a glove?
Much lower budget, and Cameron Diaz is not involved. It's also about a classical musician world championship, and I think there's a role for Jeffrey Rush. I think Jeffrey's ready to come back.
Okay. So this glove...
V, do you think Jeffrey's ready to come back as the woman in the room? No? All right. Important to take that on note. Here was my other thought about hiring people. There are all these men who got cancelled, and not all of them got cancelled for the same magnitude of stuff, you know? Some of them, Harvey Weinstein can't be involved. But what about people who got cancelled for something that, just towards the end of the hysteria... Yeah.
I got caught up in the...
A lot of head shaking.
Caught up in the crossfire.
Yes. Aziz Ansari?
Yeah.
No, maybe?
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, no, yep.
I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm just thinking outside the box and getting cheap acts.
So how long will it take to produce this?
1 month.
How many characters do you need for it?
There are about 6 speaking roles.
Okay.
And to make it low budget, almost no one is in the same scene at the same time. It's a series of dialogues. It's just like a bunch of sketches back to back. I think it'll be 90 minutes long. Could be a big hit. So
I'm putting it out there. If anyone's listening, they think they could have what sort of? Can you give me some? What sort of characters we're looking for here? Like
well, one of them is an elderly ghost, and that's why I thought Jeffrey Rush would be excellent as the elderly ghost. But there's room for Jeffrey.
Yeah, I think maybe Hugh Hefner could do that either.
He's dead.
Oh, is he?
Yes. I was actually going through the list of cancelled celebrities. Sadly, a lot of them are dead, and I can't use them.
Okay.
But I mean, Kanye's ready to come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'm 2 degrees. I think Kanye's new wife, a friend of mine asked her out on a date once, so there's a connection. But we'll try and get Kanye.
Okay.
He's apologised for the things he said. But let's forget the cancelled celebrities.
Yeah.
There are many roles in there, but I think...
Is there a role for me in there?
Yes.
You said that pretty quickly. That makes me way more concerned.
Well, I mean, probably. We need you to audition. I wouldn't want your investment to have you derail it if you weren't right for the part. You having invested so much in the film.
A shameless loss of money.
And
150 grand. I'm not an expert at producing movies, but what's that going to get you?
Well, I found an extremely talented man with nothing to do. His name's Sam Clark. He recently got married. He's my cinematographer. He's a genius. And so I just wrote a movie around the gear that he has. It came to me in a vision, in a dream. I can't believe.
This could be like the Raka Raka Boys moment.
I believe so.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Is that Just Be Quiet or something?
No, I think we can say they're having a big moment.
Yeah, the Raka Raka Boys, Just Be Quiet or something?
I think it's, with technology as it is, you can make a beautiful high budget, on the buttons with the tech. You get a good camera and good sound stuff.
Talk to me.
About the Raka Raka Boys?
That's the movie.
That's the movie. It's a satanic movie, isn't it?
I think it's a horror. I think it's and I think it's very bloody scary.
This movie is a comedy, I think.
Has anyone seen it though? Yeah. I would love to see it. It's full scary. Yeah, that's it. And the guys, they're Adelaide boys.
They are, and they've got great special effects. But they had the knowledge, and they went, usually for the knowledge we have, you'd have to pay someone a lot for it.
Yeah.
I don't think, to get a good comedian in a movie, usually you have to pay a lot of money.
Who's going to be the comedian?
Undecided. I think we'll get Amos Gill back. We'll get Amos Gill in the movie. I opened for a lot of famous Americans, and I'm going to America. I think maybe we get a cheap American.
Okay.
I haven't raised that with any of them yet.
I'd love to think if they think they're cheap.
Well,
let's go to what's the synopsis?
There's a classical musician who goes on a great journey.
Like a drum, guitars,
he's a composer. He composes. He waves the baton, and he goes on a journey to be given the greatest song of all time. I'll do the start in some detail. To visit some sort of creature to be given the greatest song of all time. He receives it and he talks it over with his woman, and he decides to destroy the song because it would ruin his life.
Yeah.
The women, the drugs, they'd have to move to a different place.
Yep.
His bandmate receives a charismatic glove, and suddenly he's getting all the plaudits. Everybody loves the man with the glove. And so I thought I could play the composer, but he's driven by, maybe I'd have to, my wife read it for the first time last night. She said, I don't see you in that role. She said, I see someone weaker and less masculine. And I said, that's a good save, honey. And it goes, I'm open to letting you read it. I don't want to give too much away. But not this one. But I will come around with a new script But you can see it's all there. It's a real script.
Looks official.
Thank you. Yes, easy now. The secrets might get out. All right, you may have a quick look at the script. Brad's glove.
You've even got like what to do.
I took 3 days to format that correctly. I wouldn't pay for their software.
So how long does it take to write something like this?
A year. I would say a year from first concept to this version, and then 2 weeks of really boiling it down.
So
I think it'd take 1 month to film and 2 months to edit, and
so
3 months to prepare.
Let me put this into perspective.
Yeah.
Jack here, he edits film clips for gangsters.
Yes. Do you really? Like drill musicians in the set?
Very close to composers.
Yep.
But posers. So if we had a look at this is something that we could do. We could do this.
It could be done.
We could be going to Tribeca.
Here's the other thing about investing in this movie.
Yep.
Sundance Film Festival.
Yep.
Cannes Film Festival.
And you get free tickets?
Well, if the film's accepted. If they say no to the film, I don't think they want you at the film festival. But if it's a good film, I think they'd let you have free tickets to these places. You'd be on a yacht.
This is... let's do it. V's loaded.
Is that true, V?
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk to V as well. I'm open to talking to a lot of investors. Apparently if you get 250, this is one of the things the Australian government is actually good at for fostering local business. If you get $250,000 and you secure a cinematic release, even a short one through like Palace Nova for a week, they'll pay you back 40% of the budget. That's what people are telling me. So you just automatically get a big lump of money back. 40% back.
Great. I think I didn't know that existed. Why 250? Why is that?
I think because they want a certain amount of money to show it's a credible project, rather than just someone going, "I made a film for $2,000. Give us
but you only want 150."
Well, that's what I could make it for, but I think Jeffrey Rush will expect more. Maybe not that Jeffrey Rush has to be in it, but it's an option.
Maybe do a Barbie deal. Give a bid on commission of sales.
Yes, I'd happily sell part of the back end. Wouldn't sell my whole back end. That sounds uncomfortable. But who else? I mean, Kevin Spacey just won his trial, but I don't want Kevin Spacey in this movie. But Johnny Depp, he's back on the up.
Yeah.
I'd have Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
V, Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Half and half. Amber Heard. Even worse.
Maybe.
Even worse.
I reckon it might be a good role for Liam Hemsworth.
I would love to get a Hemsworth. Who's the least cool Hemsworth brother?
Chris.
No, there's one that people don't even know. There's a third Hemsworth.
No, there's not.
Yeah, there is.
Was he on Home and Away?
He might have been on Home and Away. They've all been on Home and Away. But you get the budget Hemsworth. You get the Aldi Hemsworth.
Okay. Well, what about the pizza guy? They got busted with some weed.
Did Paulie Finnick get
Dougie?
Who's Doug? What, the guy from Fat Pizza?
No.
I don't want to slander anybody. I didn't know Paulie. I love Paulie Finnick.
How about Robert Downey Jr.?
In a heartbeat. But he's too...
Charlie Sheen?
He can ask for all the money. He can ask for millions of dollars. Charlie Sheen would be great.
See?
Here's another one. Will Smith. Who's working with Will Smith at the moment? Now, you just don't talk about his bald wife. You can have Will Smith in a movie.
It sounds all realistic to me.
That's what I like to hear. It's doable.
It's definitely doable.
You got to leave on a high. I'm walking out now, and we'll resume this later. No, I'm joking.
Wow, this is amazing. You're bringing this. So
never let people read the scripts. No, I'm joking. You can read the scripts.
So screenwriting.
Yes.
How much of this? Since when did you have a talent for writing things?
Oh, I mean, the bar is very low. Most people are really bad at it. I've written for a number of ABC television shows. I've been in a bunch of writers' rooms, and you quickly find out these people are dumb. Not all of them, but there's some real dumbos in there who are just coating along on the coattails of other people.
What happens in a what happens in a writing? Is that
it's slobs sitting around
eating pizza,
getting fat off the taxpayer dollar. I don't want to be too negative in case the ABC ever want to hire me, but it doesn't seem to happen.
Oh no, no. But what about a movie? Why aren't you doing Hollywood movies and not on strike? Be the not on strike guy.
Well, this is the other reason now's a good time, because in America the unions are so strong in show business, they'll destroy you. So they're saying that even people who aren't on union, if they write anything at the moment in America, they won't be allowed to join the union in the future. So just kids sitting at home, they're saying, don't you write anything if you're in America at the moment. And then they're a proper break your legs type union is my understanding. Whereas in Australia, totally non-unionised. Do whatever you want. So it's a weird opportunity.
Yeah, this sounds like something. It definitely sounds like something that's not to be missed.
Put that on the poster.
Oh dear. So we talk about writing.
Yes.
I think I watch Friends and no, that's not true. I've never watched an episode, but
have you never watched an episode of Friends?
No.
Seinfeld?
No.
Frasier?
No.
Oh, I love Frasier.
No. I've seen bits and pieces of whatever, but one of the things I did see that was quite impressive.
Yeah.
Who's George? Is it George from George? I was an IGA function. George Steinfeld.
George Costanza?
Yeah. So he came and emceed for an IGA event in Queensland, and it was outstanding. Like, for the guy that he flew in, apparently wasn't well, flew over, must have got paid a shitload, but his knowledge on Coles and Woolworths he's at an all-independent conference. And he did the awards and he did bits and pieces, and it was he had his gags like what's Coles doing with the down with the infected hand pointing at their groins.
Oh, I like that.
And he'd play the clips on TV, and you could see them all pointing at their groins with their. And he goes, is that a thing in Australia? But his knowledge was phenomenal, and I was like, that's the difference between Hollywood and anyone else.
Yeah, they take it seriously. They work hard, and also there are things to be gained.
Why aren't you? You've done some ABC?
Yep.
What about some big budget stuff?
Well,
how do you get?
Well, I think we're moving to America for a while. But I'm Catholic. I got 3 small children. It's hard to do anything or to travel when you've got a 4, a 2, and a 6-month-old.
But do you have to travel? Don't you just go to Chat GPT, give me a script, and then?
I've tried. The technology's not there yet. No. The technology is there. I used to do copywriting to make a little extra money. I would write people's websites for small to medium-sized businesses.
Yeah.
Boy, the Chat GPT does that really well. So that income stream has dried right up. And I knew that would dry up because it was not a real job. As I was doing, they'd say, write an 800-word article about garage doors. And you'd go, this is beneath me. This is very dumb. And, of course, the robot knows how to do that, but the robot can't make something human, and it can't write a good song.
Does some pretty good stuff. I think for that style, but what do you like writing best?
I love stand-up. I love stand-up comedy.
So have you written material for people or?
Yes, but in generosity, I won't say who.
So that to me, like my wife's very funny.
Yeah, like
she actually, it got to a stage where her humour is so on another level. I said to her, you got to write this shit down because she can smash people across the head. Like, she'd be great for hecklers in the crowd.
If she wants to come and do 5 minutes at the open mic, the comedy scene in this state is in a bad shape. I can get her stage time if she's keen.
She's got to do this because she just doesn't, she can deliver the jokes. Yeah. Memory's impeccable, but just that one bit of being on stage and doing it.
Well, this is what's it called? What's the that effect where like the more you know about something, the less you want to do it.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? There's like the more you like the more you know how good it could be. So the people who actually get involved and do things usually are some of the worst people at it because they don't know how bad they are. But it's people who know a little bit more.
Is that called something?
Yeah, there's a name for that effect. It's not called the Donning-Kruger. Maybe it's called Donning-Kruger. That's the opposite. Kruger-Donning. The more you know, the less likely you are to do something. That's the opposite. So it's the opposite. Kruger is you feel more confident about a skill or topic than you really should.
Well,
yeah. So
you're more confident about the topic.
I started doing it when I was very bad and I was very young. I was 17, so I didn't know better. And then you get the opportunity to keep doing it. But if you go to an open mic, there's a lot of insane people.
Is there?
Oh, man.
I must admit, I don't...
You will never find a higher concentration of psychotic people than an open mic stand-up comedy event. Anywhere in the world. These people are nutty. Or you go to slam poetry. People who go, my poems are good enough to read to the public. They're the worst poems you've ever heard in your entire life. Whereas people who can really write poetry, Emily Dickinson, just keeps them in a little envelope, dies. No one knows about them for years afterwards.
And then she pulls them out.
Oh, these aren't as good as Shakespeare. I shouldn't show anybody. I shouldn't try.
Right. Okay. All right. So do you do your writing like that?
No, I bring it along to the podcast and I encourage people to invest money in making a film happen. But I used to be more like that. And it's really only since I had children and I'm worried about them growing up poor that I'm pushing myself out more.
Okay.
I think this is why people should have, people depending on you because it makes you scared. And you do things you wouldn't otherwise do.
So that's a bit of drive there.
Yeah. Oh, I just lie awake in the middle of the night going, public school. No.
Do you sit there and how's a writing cycle work? I mean, I hear people of writing blocks and things like that. And how do you get into that mindset where every piece of content I'm writing needs to come out of some form of delivery or, you get times where you're like, yeah. And then you're like, there's nothing.
Well, it's hard. The thing you want to write is often not the thing that you should be writing at the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So part of it is, do you chase enthusiasm and like what you're passionate about, or do you go, this is the thing that I think is going to work? And sometimes that lines up at the same thing. The thing that you want to do is the thing that the world wants from you. But it's quite rare that the thing you love is the thing that there's a great demand for.
Yep.
So even like, I think of pop stars who, so few pop stars will have, once they get the freedom to make the music they want to make, no one wants to hear that. David Bowie, it intersected for like 2 albums of things he wanted to make and things it was like, let's dance. That was it. And then after that, no one's listening to 90s Bowie. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's you just have to, I guess you hope that you get looked after, that you have the right idea at the right time. But I have a lot of beats for your, drill musicians that there's no market for that. It's just, that's where I spend most of my time is on GarageBand on my phone making hip hop beats for street thugs. So they don't want them.
So do you follow Harry Mack?
No, Harry Mack.
He's the guy that he can say, give me 3 words and I'll do a rap. Have you not heard it?
No. Does he live in South Australia?
No.
Okay.
He's worldwide. In fact, I showed my girls last night something before bed. And they're going, Dad, have you podcasted him? And he's I said, nah, not this guy, girls. But you haven't. He is amazing.
Harry Mack. Maybe I do know Harry Mack. I was up. We were up all night last night.
If you looked it up, you would see.
I've lost a lot of short-term memory at the moment. Everyone was in the bed this morning.
Let's just go to one thing of his, right?
Harry Mack.
Do you want me to play something?
Yeah.
So people say 3 words to him. I don't know if I'm allowed to play this, but.
Yo, I'm the microphone controller. My lyrics stay connected, kind of like a Motorola. I'm here to scold ya. I'm off the top with the godly flow. I had to double check to make sure we're recording audio. Hey, Snack, when I do it, you know I'm.
And he looks around and raps as he sees it.
Give me another word and I'll
him.
Yeah, Harry Mack, you know I brought them more than great rap. Listen, my flow is scandalous. I'm really doing damages. I never take a loss out here in Los Angeles. Yeah, hey yo, I spit and they dangle. Yo, I get it ripping in a tangle in City of Angels. Hey, Snack, I put it down. What is that? Jingle. Yeah, yo,
Chris Kringle.
I'm about to write a
I like to mingle.
When I'm off the top, you know the people
Eat some Pringles.
I'm about to rap a jingle because it's coming up on Christmas. Harry Mack, I do this, man. My flow is universal. I'm about to spit a jingle that they use in a commercial. It's Harry Mack, I'm on it. Every bar I kick is honest. I'ma hold it down forever. You can trust it, that's a promise. Yeah, I'm off the top, I kick them loud boy raps. Shout the woman who be filming in the cowboy hat. Harry Mack, I really do it and my flow is too great. That looks like a fancy bag, yo, I hope it's not fake. Harry Mack, I do it proper.
Well, that's rude. That is a fake bag. You could get him on the pod. Do you know people like that in the rap scene?
This guy, he is unreal. Like, and he just goes that. So I reckon, when I'm watching people come up with stuff, how people come up with that on the fly, like, and it's. So normally he goes, give me 3 words, and they'll go, bah, bah, bah. And then as he's doing it, anything in the background, he'll sit and go, oh, yeah, your sister in the background, or, come on over.
Do you know a Banda Man?
Nah.
He's like the Adelaide Fringe equivalent. He's an Irish guy who does a similar thing. But I used to do shows next to him in the Garden of Unearthly Delights.
Yeah.
Man, it was infuriating.
Was he like that?
Yeah, but like it's all thin tense, so I'm there trying to do the jokes that I've thought up, and then just you hear in the next room, what's in your handbag? oh, I feel very glad. And then they're all going, ah. And I'm like, man, I can't make people make that noise with my jokes. He comes every year. And he'll go through people's bags and he'll go, which I think is, there's only so many things in people's bags.
Yeah, so
phone, tissues.
He sits there and goes, don't give me animals anymore. Don't give me food.
He's sick of them.
He will sit there. He goes, yeah, too easy. Like, give me stuff. And he asks for words, hard words normally, like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious or so. And he...
Atrocious, ferocious.
And so now he's
precocious.
doing live events where the words come up on the screen.
Yeah.
And he does a live event with it.
Well, you could get him on. How famous is he? Oh, he's very famous. He's got 1 million people and he lives in America.
He's not going to waste his time.
Hold on. Do I have a mutual? Does he follow anyone I know?
Yeah. Well, suss it out. He might be friends of your big cohort of American posse.
I know 2 American men.
Okay, and they're probably famous. So moving on from that, it's the devil's advocate. There you go.
Oh yeah. So that was a similar thing where people would write down something to defend, something like nasty, and I would stand there and like defend it in a charming way. But again, by some point you knew them all, and you were like, don't give me Hitler, don't give me bestiality, don't give me.
There's nothing that you wouldn't have heard.
Oh man. Towards the end, I had other people reading them out to me on stage just because people would write terror. I wouldn't want to go through all of them. And some of them were so off colour that if the audience heard me read it out, they would turn, even though they knew I hadn't written it.
Have you ever had an audience that you're just getting nothing from?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. But, I mean, there are tiny things that can... Well, you saw me at a show. Fine. One of my top 3 worst ever gigs...
I was there, and I'll be honest with you. I was like, I'd
managed to suppress that until right now.
I saw it, and
you were keeping me in the game. You were the only one smiling.
Well, I heard you at we had you at our Drake Golf Day, and
had a great time.
That's an interesting crowd, like predominantly. A bit over the age of me, so over the age of 50 and, a couple of young people. But, males and females, quite mixed. And you were hilarious.
I appreciate that.
I was like, yep, funny. People were laughing. Your Telstra joke working at Telstra and blah, blah, blah. And then, then you did a gig for a friend of mine. And I was in the crowd and I got to admit, when the crowd gives you nothing, it makes it very difficult.
It does. It's why you've got to have a song. I wish I'd had a guitar and I could have just gone, hey, everybody who wants to hear a little Hotel California. But that was late and they were drunk. Yeah. And you couldn't hear me and they just wanted to keep gambling.
Yeah.
I think. But they tolerated me and it was nice to meet all those people. I knew some people working at that company. And I possibly shouldn't have opened. It was a disability insurance company. And I shouldn't have opened by calling them all disabled. That was potentially a mistake. So we all make mistakes and we learn and we move forward.
I thought you were, to be honest, I thought you were great.
That's very kind. I did not do all the time I was asked to do. I got out of there pronto.
Yeah, I know. And it was very, very tough. So how do you prepare? So with your shows, I know when I do talks, I sit there and I practice. Wordy lines, and then I get rid of all the big sentences, and then I go to words, and then I draw pictures. And I've got a way that I can draw pictures, which gets the flow of a story.
Yep.
That's how I remember. And I try to, with my girls growing up, well, they're growing up, so am I, that I say, add pictures to things. And then, that's how you get to a relation. Get to the correlation is I use colours, I use pictures, and I use a story to try and sync it together. Yes. And I wish I got told this at school. I didn't get told any of this. My kids are quite good storytellers, and I think I've rubbed off a little bit, fingers crossed, on them, because I think it's important to be able to tell a story, hold an audience.
Sure.
It might not be on stage. How do you prepare?
I used to write it all down and remember every word. And no, I don't do that anymore.
I saw that.
Yes. I just tried to have a nap in the afternoon and eat right, do a little exercise. I can't wait till my children are of the age where anything I do rubs off on them, Because how old are your children?
8 and 9.
It's the dream.
How old are your children?
4, 2, and 7 months.
Oh, dude, you got another
I
10
make
years.
my wife's like, stop getting into arguments with the 2-year-old.
Yeah.
You can't win. He just locks in and looks at me, no. That's all he'll say. And I think you can't disrespect me like that.
Oh my God, you're in the hurt locker for a while.
Yes. It's going to be...
you really are.
Going to have to move to a bigger car if my wife gets pregnant again.
Mate,
we're already in the big Volvo.
You can control that, can't you?
No, the Catholicism. Contraceptives are out.
Oh my God, mate. Far out. Did you find that you were into comedy from
I loved it, yeah.
From when you were young, like you watched all the episodes of Mr. Bean?
Oh,
someone told me there was only like not even 20 episodes.
The Simpsons was my favourite.
Okay.
I was just at the right age. I was born in 91, and so my whole Channel 10, 7 o'clock, Simpsons come on, unbelievable. And then I got the little book of Simpsons. Man, I loved The Simpsons.
Yeah, Bart, go to your room. Yeah, right.
Did you call him Bart or Mark?
Bart.
Okay, I couldn't hear.
Come on, mate. I thought. So you knew from an age there that, hey, I'm not bad at it. At school, were you good at English?
I was better than other things.
Yeah.
I was pretty bad at
So you would have been good at PE?
I was good at sledging. I was always good next to the batsman, saying nasty stuff. Second wicket keeper, shouting insults, and then they get angry, and then it's okay. So there is a report that says James has the sledging down pat. Don't worry about that. Hand-eye coordination, not there.
Should have been playing professional sport. There's a slight window, you know that.
I was so uncoordinated, and then when I was 17, puberty kicked in, and I got coordinated. It was where I couldn't catch a ball, I couldn't do anything, and so I actually did have one shining year where I went into hockey as a hockey goalkeeper, and no one is really developing the skills. No one's like, Dad is training them up to be a great hockey goalkeeper in Australia. So I had 1 year where I was a okay hockey goalkeeper, and then it was over. But if you're not young and your dad's not, my dad was not teaching. He tried to teach me how to kick a footy a couple times, and then he gave up. He was our basketball coach when I was in the 2nd grade. In year 2, he wouldn't play me. He wouldn't play his own son. Usually, dads can't stop playing their own son. My dad was like, we want to win. James has no place out there.
Do you carry some of these characteristics on with your own children?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what sport I can push my children into now.
Well, one that makes money.
Yeah, I'm not letting my daughter play AFLW and get concussed for $9,000. That's insane. She can play tennis, golf, or netball. That's it.
Golf?
She's never going to cut it with the Korean women. But now's the time to start pushing.
What do you mean?
Korean women are so good at golf.
At what? Golf,
yeah. But I think tennis would be great. Maybe my son's more... I don't know that either of my oldest two are temperamentally there for sport. Woman boxing?
UFC?
My daughter could.
UFC get paid good.
But even that, I don't like seeing women get hurt. Sorry if that's sexist.
Well, it's brutal. I mean, what I like about the UFC, Dana White's, he's introduced the women fighting. You know, it's just as good as the blokes, and I think they get paid just as good as the blokes.
Well, I remember Ronda Rousey got paid a lot.
It all comes down to numbers. If more people are watching your pay-per-view, you get paid more, and that's how it should be.
Well, there was no stage where people were like, let's give more money to male athletes, right? The audience, I mean, for hundreds of years, it was like taboo to pay athletes anything. All sport was amateur. They didn't start paying rugby union players until the 90s.
Yeah, no, that's
and it was thought it was unmasculine to get paid for it. And it was only because the demand was so high, people finally went, I'd give them a little money. But there was none of this. Sport is frivolous, right? Like it's a silly extra thing we do to pass the time. The government shouldn't be paying people to play soccer. Should be paying for like more guns or something, or like roads that work, or a high-speed rail, not to make ladies feel better about playing soccer. That seems like a misuse of taxpayer money to me. Coles.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I can see your side of that.
I'm not saying stop people from playing a sport, but I think all sport should be amateur.
I think it's all sport. Well, then what would we bet on?
Well, you can still bet on it. If anything, that would be more exciting bets because you don't really know who's good.
And you don't know who's going to rig it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's some. The thing that I think people underestimate is the window. The window is so small for a professional athlete of any description. You have to, and you need a set of parents that pull you out of school.
Yes.
And focus on one thing, and that's hard.
And even then, you might not. The chances of making it, even at that point, if very like you get one injury, you're done.
My day was Leighton Hewitt, so
yes,
he was in the same year, but. He was playing.
Did you go to Emmanuel?
No, I went to PAC. But
okay.
I used to go and watch. And Leighton Hewitt's dad was a psychopath.
Like, he would make him walk home, right? Like if he lost.
Yeah,
he wasn't allowed in the car.
Like totally yelling at his son, and it was a bit. It wasn't cringy. I don't know.
No, it would have been full on to look at.
Absolutely full on. But that made me realise that's what you got to do.
What, to be a top athlete? Yeah,
that's it.
Michael Jackson, I only got to be Michael Jackson because his father, I think, you dance, Michael. It's 5 a.m. until your feet start bleeding.
The Michael Jordan shooting 1 million shots. The Tiger Woods hitting 1 million balls.
I mean, it's sad when the only time that's really sad is when someone doesn't have the skill and you get a toxic father who's pushing the child to be great and the kid's never going to be great. And you see that all the time, especially at soccer. I have friends who enroll their kids in AFL because they think it's safer for the children than playing soccer, even though soccer has fewer injuries because the parents in soccer are so brutal and weird.
And I think that's, I think Beyonce's dad made her sign stuff while she was running on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And
Kelly Rowland's father didn't push her that hard. And where's Kelly's big career? Which is pretty big. But
yeah, maybe it can work. Can you I think it's a fine line, right? And when do you choose to make that? One of my mates is pulling his kid out of school to try and do F1. Gone over to the Barcelona Ferrari School Academy, got accepted into that. You're test timed there against the best drivers in the world, and then they come back and they charge you $1 squillion for another track day. To try and be one of those young people coming up through the ranks. Like people are forgetting, Max Verstappen's like one of the first athletes ever to come through Formula One. Because Red Bull...
Did Red Bull go and find him?
Yeah. So these kids, and there's a bunch of them. You got Orlando and you got all the kids coming through now. They've all been groomed... Well, some are Red Bull, some are Ferrari Academy, but where you go back to Ayrton Senna and all that, none of those guys were groomed. Lewis Hamilton wasn't even groomed. So Lewis Hamilton was the last of the not groomed from the bottom up.
Yeah.
And you look at it, and that is total commitment by the whole family. And I don't think people in this day and age want to do that. Mind you, I think it'd be so easy. I'd rather pull my kids out of school, get a home teacher,
Yeah. Some kids would love it though. Some kids would love to have the family behind them, helping them
100%
through that. And you see that there are temperaments where that's actually the kindest thing I think you could do for the kid. I was watching Taylor Walker play that last game of football, and he was going for the Coleman medal, and he just wanted the ball. And like all those sports films are about, don't be selfish. Like it's always the selfish basketball player. But in AFL, most people aren't selfish. They don't want to be the person in that big moment with everybody looking at them.
Yeah.
Toby Green's a great example. He wants the ball at that difficult moment, and you get the feeling like that sort of temperament, if you did take them out of school, it's like, we're all paying attention to you. We're all going to help you be the best at this thing that you really like doing and you're really good at.
The Michael Jordan, the North Carolina shot.
Yeah.
I can make this shot.
But I think for every one of them, there must be 100 dads who are like, I didn't make it because my knee's broken and I'm going to push my son until he
100%
can play wiffle ball better than anybody or whatever it is.
I don't know if you would have thought it as much. And you look at the pedigree coming through. All of these guys have kids of today, right? They're groomed up athletes. Like Max Verstappen's dad used to race. Like, these aren't kids just walking off the street. They've come in because their father, their grandfather, there's some pedgree.
There's a Nepo baby situation.
100%. And that, with Formula One, I know it a bit better than others, but, I'm with you. If my kids aren't doing anything, well, they're doing cheer at the moment, but I don't think there's enough money unless you go be a Dallas Cowboy. I'm assuming those chicks get paid like bucket loads. But, you've got to do something that you can make a career from. If you're going to waste all of your time and energy young, like your writing?
Well, I think the joy of being the writer in the comedy is that ideally that pays off later. It doesn't necessarily have to, but you're not making it young. If I was in music, by this point I'd go, oh, the pop stardom, the clock is ticking. But I think as a comedian, mid-30s is not a bad time to make it.
You're not like a Backstreet Boy. I can't turn that thing on. It's hot in here, no?
Well, there is a difference in skills between some people are... Like, to be a tennis player, you don't have to be original. You have to be performing at the highest level. So your family you can do that with discipline.
Yeah.
But you can't really be a writer from discipline.
Yeah, I'm assuming being a writer would be extremely hard to learn.
I don't think you could teach it, no.
Yeah.
I mean, but then people, like, comedy courses are the worst. And there's a big taboo against them in the industry because you go, no one can learn this thing. It's like one thing they can't teach you is to be funny. But then people who aren't funny go, I'd really like to be funny. I'll pay anybody $1,000 if they'll teach me to be funny. And so the big taboo is you shouldn't take those people's money. And everybody who does a comedy class is looked down on.
So you haven't got a comedy class coming out?
Man, I mean, we'll see. It's also nice to have money. But having said that, I don't know who would come.
So I think comedy's one of the toughest things to do.
Okay. I think working on an oil rig and then comedy.
Doing the stand-up part and the actual part where you're delivering, that takes a lot.
I get tired. Other people I see, and it doesn't seem to take anything out of them. Amos Gill will do 6 shows in a night and want to do some more after that. I do a show and I'm ready to go to bed. I'm exhausted. But there are people who are nutty about it. It's energy giving. All these I did shows with Mark Normand, who's a great American comedian. I opened for him across the country a couple months ago. He did the Palais Theatre, which is like a 4,000 seat theatre in Melbourne. He did 2 shows, an hour, back to back. And then at the end of that, he was going, is there a comedy club in town? And we drove all the way across it. We were in St Kilda. We drove to North Melbourne, and the comedy club stayed open longer so he could do another 5 minutes at the end of the night. They love it. I am tired when I get off stage.
Does he have kids?
No. See? I think that's a big difference.
Mate, they suck every ounce of life out of you.
Yes.
Every bit.
I mean, this is true.
Every bit.
But it's also nice to have everything drained so you don't feel, shouldn't I be doing something else? I haven't been bored in 4 years because a nap is always an option. I don't think do you remember the last time maybe when they get older and go to school it's easier, but with 3 at home. There were 5 in the bed this morning. And I was very close to having an angry dad, get out of my bed. And my wife's so tender and so mild with the children. But I was.
Do you know what I do?
I've got an interview today. Yeah.
I grab my pillow, I grab my eye shades, and I walk into their room and jump into their bed.
I got to buy them nicer beds. At the moment, I don't.
They have tiny little sleep in them?
Yeah.
So what do you see in comedy these days? People getting cancelled. You can't sing Baa Baa Black Sheep anymore. You can't sing. You can't have Gollywog Dolls. There's all this stuff that's coming into play, and people are getting cancelled for it. I mean, has anyone seen Tropic Thunder?
People love him, so they try and keep that quiet.
So, but for me, that's what it was. What's your interpretation on the cancelling?
I think it ended about a year ago, and nobody's noticed yet.
Okay.
I think.
I 100% agree with you
because the mainstream media used to be really powerful, and now it's nothing. It's dried up.
Yeah.
God help those people on the project. I don't know anyone who's watching them. Are you watching No one's watching the project. No one's watching Q&A. Like anything that used to be a big career-making thing is done, and they can't make a new star. And so everyone who's becoming, at least in comedy, I can just speak to that. Anyone who's like got a career is basically doing it off their own back. Going on The Tonight Show or something and doing a 5-minute used to be the big thing, and now it's going on Joe Rogan. Going on Joe Rogan, it would be 100 times better for your career than going on Jimmy Fallon's show or Jimmy Kimmel's show.
10,000 times better.
It's unbelievable. I mean, the Kimmel thing might do nothing.
I reckon.
So they can't, what is there to take away from you is one thing, and then secondly, it's because there's no like middle ground anymore. It's not worth. I mean, it was weird and scary for a while there when it was like Twitter and the mainstream thing together, and suddenly people cared what gender studies majors at university had to say about something that happened 20 years ago and whether or not. I think that's over. It's not 100% flowed through yet to the rest of the culture, but I don't know. You'd have to do something. So it would have to be like a criminal offence now to cancel somebody.
Well, I even the things you say, and I'll say Amos because Amos has been on the show, which Matt made me follow him. He says anything, and I reckon it's good because I think if you're getting offended over you're at a comedy event watching a comedian, do you think there's any room for someone to be offended?
I mean, it's also nice to get walkouts. It makes you feel powerful and like you're doing something real, And I've increasingly been getting a couple of walkouts. But, I mean, I'm trying to think of how anyone would get, say someone did a joke in bad taste.
Yeah. What would one of those be?
Well, I'm trying to say something racist or sexist. Like, I think earlier on when I said no one should be playing women's, I don't know if I said that exactly, but if I said no one should play women's football, that's something that might have been sort of, people could get, there might have been a Daily Mail article about that a few years ago. Comedian says women's football, shut it down. Women are getting concussed, it's wrong. Or even, whatever it is, I don't make any of my money from those people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The ABC won't give me a job. I get more work in America than from local things just because it's so hard as me to get any of that for whatever reason. Who can say it? But it's like if they don't, you need a carrot and a stick, and there's no carrot anymore for a mainstream show business thing to give out. So how would you discipline if you can't cancel, if you can't take something away from somebody? You have to give it to them first. And if everything's off your own boot, they could take away they can kick you off social media, but increasingly there's so much social media and it's owned by so many different people with so many interests. How would you cancel somebody now other than killing them in the street the way they used to do it?
Well, it's just a good thing though. Isn't that where we should be?
Yeah, I think it's the dawn of a new thing. I mean, it's weird, and there's some bad stuff with that as well, because it was sort of nice having TV and the news, and everyone could agree on what the news was, but it's done.
Yeah, it's done, isn't it?
I don't see it coming back.
Do you like I saw, Jimmy Carr?
Yeah.
Saw Jimmy Carr.
It's not a bad Jimmy Carr impression. Yeah.
And one thing I noticed live is, first of all, how many jokes he said. Like, I was actually staggered. I reckon it was over 200 jokes for the night. Like
his jokes per minute is very high.
Is it? Yeah, like it's high. But I guess I was going to say I sort of like the layering jokes where it comes in here, then a bit later on here. What sort of style do you prefer? Or is there a style? Is there such a thing? Or is that just my observation?
No, I mean, I'd say do you know Bernie Mac?
Yeah, he does comment. He does.
He was one of the kings of comedy. Or Steve Harvey.
Yeah?
They're probably my two of my favorite comedians. Steve Harvey's maybe my favorite comedian of all time. He does disgust so well. He's just up there.
Which one's Steve Harvey? He's a Family Feud.
Yeah. He's so, just his energy. He's so, such a great.
So is he a comedian?
He's a great stand-up comedian. No one knows about his stand-up comedy, but I think it's because he loves money. Like way more than he loves performing. He'll just do Family Feud instead of going on tour. But he's the best.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
The best living. Okay. Norm Macdonald was great, but he is too dead to go and watch perform.
Do you look up to any of these? Like, is there someone new that you see cruising around with doing comedy that you think, oh yeah, that's pretty funny? Or, all you comedians get together and start become all picky? Like a bunch of supermodels together talking about what they're not
fat.
What they're not going to eat.
I love comedy. I love being at it. It's a great energy, and I love hanging out with other comedians. In terms of there are really great American. There's something great is happening in America at the moment. With I just did a show with Sam Talent. He was exquisite. He was great. He was opening for Tim Dillon, whose podcast is world standard.
So has Joe Rogan's just opened a new comedy club, yeah? Has open mic and everything as well?
I was trying to get over there, but I got pneumonia and I had to... I know, I'll go back. But,
is that the gig you actually had lined up? But you couldn't.
I don't know if it was lined up. People who do the club said, we'll try and get you on. And I was like, I'll book a ticket now and I will go. And then I got... the pneumonia was rough. I don't have it anymore. It's great. But the antibiotic... And I got on the severe antibiotics to crush it. And then it was just it's diarrhea every day. We don't have to talk about this, but then I did cancel it. And at the moment, I'm in a big fight with Fiji Air about getting my money back for my ticket.
Are you joking? How the hell's Fiji Air getting you to America?
Via Fiji. I was going to go via Fiji, yeah.
Fuck, that
I can't afford the direct Qantas flight.
It's fucking dangerous, mate.
I also bought it through a third party. A cheap third-party thing. So it's a lot of I made some mistakes. I'm new to international travel. But I will say Air New Zealand, the best. They were just like, have your money back.
See?
Yeah, I love Air New Zealand.
Well,
Fiji Air.
Qantas is in a little bit of a,
I want to ask you about inflation on the topic of Qantas.
Okay.
Because they talk, so prices are going up everywhere.
Yep.
And so Qantas is being accused of... They pulled down some ridiculously big profit.
2.1 billion.
2.1 billion, and they're going, well, it's a difficult circumstance and we're just doing what we can. But then Coles, Woolworths, Qantas, all these big companies, while they're jacking up prices, obviously the expenses aren't going as high as the prices.
Yeah.
So when you're setting prices, how much of inflation do you think in business at the coalface of supermarket sales is greed and people hitching up prices or genuine increase in cost of doing business?
Two different models there. The supermarket, there is no doubt that every single supplier we have has increased prices by a minimum of 12 to 45%.
Right.
No doubt. So that is definite. So I can comfortably say you increase your pricing to try and hold your margin. Don't forget, we're paying in Australia, we pay more than anywhere else in the world, other than a few countries. But that comes at a price. If you give someone 5% increase pay for breathing,
yes,
then that's gonna have to come out of something. And it's not like you're paying your best performer 10% and you get 2% and you get
you have a set wage
5
across the
everyone
board.
Gets 5, and then your better performance gets something over and back because you don't want to lose them.
No, but you got a huge minimum wage.
And then you got landlords as well that sit there and go, well, hang on, we're on this property. They're in a best case scenario have a full shopping centre, but I'll tell you most shopping centres aren't full. Mm-hmm. And every shopping centre is full, good on them, and there are a few out there, but the more holes you see, especially in rural areas, it's got to come at a cost. And I wouldn't want to get talking about shoplifting and stealing and people taking products.
I saw you on the news not long ago talking about shoplifting.
So these things are compounding, which the media has loved calling a cost of living pressure, and there's no doubt that exists. Now, when you're talking about an airline that is trying not to let another airline come in because we don't need the competition.
Yeah.
But, we recently had one of our guys come back from Queensland, book paid for Qantas flight, and he gets on an Alliance plane.
Yeah.
And they send him on an Alliance plane to Adelaide, but they don't give him some money back because it's on a cheaper plane.
So what, Qantas have just booked?
So Qantas, everyone that's been travelling remotely at the moment, you've been delayed, your flights have been cancelled.
Yeah.
And this is all just shuffling the deck chairs to make the most amount of profit so that plane is full.
Don't get me. I was on Virgin.
Yeah.
And so I have all these Virgin points.
Yeah.
They have just ruthlessly inflated the points. The points don't get you anything anymore.
Yeah, well,
this amount of points used to get you a round the world trip. Now it doesn't get you to Melbourne.
Are you serious?
It's disgraceful. It's really bad.
Well, I think it's very tough when businesses I'm all for businesses making money. Don't get me wrong at all, but there have been a lot of increases in expenses, which has meant that we've had to increase pricing, and that's what's happened. But you've got to also understand is more people aren't going out as much, and that's still happening where the hotels and the restaurants, they're all down because people are actually eating more food at home. So technically you're making more money because more people are shopping with you, not because you're jacking up your prices. And
that would be the ideal.
Well, that's what's going on. There's it's not just one thing, but the airlines are totally different. And dealing with airlines, at the moment, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because they are shuffling everything around. And most of the time, it's not to suit you as the passenger. You look at the plane, it gets cleaned in 2 seconds. Like,
I could talk about
yeah, you could talk about whatever you want.
It's airports. I mean, I was thinking of airport design. This is what because every airport looks the same and they all look terrible.
Yep.
Like they're all like high ceiling, metal, weird angles. And it's meant to, I think, make you feel alienated and lonely. So that when things don't go wrong, you don't come together with everybody. Right? Like when they delay a flight, they want you all feeling cold and lonely and isolated. They don't want you all getting together and going, there's 50 of us, we're not going to take this anymore. They want you quiet, on your own, spaced out, big room. I think there's a weird psychology at play with airports. I hate airport. Like I really, the security, why do they do the security? And they do different security around the world. In America, you have to take your shoes off to get on a plane because they once had a shoe bomber. And so everyone has to do that forever. Nowhere else in the world are they making you take your shoes off, even though there's the same risk they could have a shoe bomb on an Australian flight as an American one. Why do they do it? I think it's to humiliate you so you do what you're told and they can control people better, get them on the flights when they want. It doesn't make any sense. I was talking to the guy doing the swab, which they don't do in America because everyone has guns. And so they don't care if you have gunpowder on you. And he goes, these never work. I said, what? He goes, never once has this machine ever come up with a reading. We paid a lot of money for the machine. We've got to keep doing it. Why are we still having 9/11 style airport security checks?
So we came back from Vietnam, and in Vietnam we nicked over to Hong Kong, went to Disneyland with the girls. And one thing about Hong Kong Chinese owned, right? Clearly they own China. And they had here's the entrance for everyone, but if you want the full facial recognition gig, it was all like, so they had 20 lines, all with no one on it, where you could put your face recognition. That's how, you didn't even need to scan documents, you could walk straight through.
But they just look at you. And they know who you are, everything about you.
Yeah, the cameras do. Cameras act as that's your identity. So you don't have to show a passport, you don't have to show anything. You literally walk in and the camera picks you up. So they had 20 aisles with no people and then all these other people lining up because these other people don't want to give up all of their their
what, they're using Disneyland
No, this is at the airport.
Oh, at the airport, right.
Yeah, this is at the airport.
So you don't have a passport? They just look at you.
Nothing. Facial recognition only. So think about it.
I'd give it up.
20 queues. Yeah, that's right. 20 queues with no one on it, or go stand with all the other plebs and wait in line to show your documentation. That is how people end up that's how you win in the end. You just keep showing them this, and then all of a sudden you'll go, oh, fuck it, I can't wait.
You only have to win one time.
I'm running late today.
Yeah, let me through.
Let me through. And it's face recognition. So, have you got on your cards? Because I'm trying to think what we can say. I can't remember what we stopped talking about.
Look, now I think feature film. I think it's a good idea. We can talk about that later when I have a script ready for you to read. I think the shandy in a can is a serious business opportunity.
I do like it, and if the guys at Big Shed, shandy in a can.
Do you have a relationship with the Big Shed people?
Yeah.
If I could get any contact information from the Big Shed people. Because you'll have a lemonade supplier as well, and they'll have a beer making and a canning facility. I think the canned shandy, I'm happy to be the face of it, McCann shandy. I'm just saying that's an option. But I think shandy in a can. Oh, we're doing it? Let's do it.
It's pick-up time. He might not be on.
Maybe it's more of a Cooper's idea. Slipping through his fingers.
What we'll do a bit of a pitch to Big Shed here. If it goes to message bank. It's a long ring, isn't it?
If he doesn't pick up, I'm getting Pirate Life on the phone.
It's Jason Big Shed. I can't get to the phone right now. Either leave a name, number and a message, or if you're after the bar, contact 82405037. Cheers.
Jace, I'm here doing a podcast. Got a pitch for you.
Shandy in a can. It's the idea the world's waiting for, and I'm ready to talk to you, Jace. Once in a lifetime. This is James Donald Forbes McCann. Once in a lifetime opportunity. Don't let this slip through to Cooper's. Get on it now, baby.
What's it called?
It's called a shandy in a can. I have a whole strategy. We're going to open up a new market for you. I don't know who the market is yet, but it's a big one.
There you go, Jace. That's an elevator pitch if I've ever heard it.
All right, I'll get Cooper's on the phone. Let's make this happen now. Is Cooper's the next? I'm not working with Lion. I'm not working with the West End people.
No.
On the drive over here, I saw them, how they've taken all the... breaks my heart. Breaks my heart the way they've taken it all down.
Where's West End made now?
West End.
Oh, shit.
It's in Victoria. But that was always going to happen when you sold up the rights to it. I think this is what I like about the Drake's project is you've got to hold on to, like you said before, the vertical ownership. If you say, oh, we make it in Australia, but it's a huge Japanese company that owns it now, you're never going to hold on long term. You're not important to them. You've got to own every step that you can in the chain. Otherwise, you're at the behest of somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm glad you've seen this so early on in your pitch. Like
next people I'm talking to, San Remo, the Villies family, the Coopers people, Hagues.
But what products though? Are you just
for Hagues?
Yeah.
I have no plans at the moment.
Well, if you could create a pie, I mean, what's a pie that you haven't had?
I've had all. I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but
I love
no stranger to
Villies mini pies.
I tell you what I would do with Villies. Villy pie. Actually, mini pies would be very good.
Mini pies. I've downed 20 at a golf day once before.
I would, because they have the 24/7 infrastructure down pat. They know how to do a 24/7 business.
Yeah,
it's not an easy thing to set up a nice place. We don't have like a proper diner in Adelaide. Like a place where you can get refillable coffee. And we've got a very large population of people who work remotely now. A lot of them have come in from Sydney and Melbourne.
Yep.
They don't want to pay for office space, right? But they're living here. They've moved back home for cheap cost of living. Somewhere pleasant. Somewhere pleasant that they can come, like a US-style diner that doesn't close. It doesn't have to be as bakery.
Like 24-hour.
24-hour.
Like Johnny's. Johnny's used to be on Hindley Street.
Yep.
I don't know if it's 24. I took Nat on a date there once. That's far out.
It was on Hindley Street?
Yeah. Yeah, Johnny's. Yep, it's definitely on Hindley Street.
They used to have a 24/7 bookstore.
The service was so bad. The service was so bad, we snuck out.
You didn't pay? And that's why they went out of business. You've destroyed an Adelaide institution.
I can't believe it was so bad. I'm like,
after all you've done against shoplifting, for you to say that, it's outrageous.
Yeah, it was outrageous. It was, geez, that was going back.
But I would pitch that to Villies.
That would be 20 years ago. No, not quite.
There used to be so many more fun things on Hindley Street, and now it is just hand jobs. It's just a non-stop, back-to-back hand job emporium. Every good business that goes, hand jobs take its place on Hindley Street.
Would that be part of your shandy?
Hand shandy, yes.
Yeah. Would that be
We're going to be
campaign?
Sponsoring the masseuses, the late-night massage parlours of Hindley Street.
Wow.
No, I mean, there's nothing to be. Everyone thinks Hindley Street's about to gentrify. So many people jump in with like a nice little pub and they think, now's the time. It's never the time. Hindley Street is it's always going to be the cesspool.
What I used to go to?
I love Hindley Street.
The Rocks, but that's not Hindley Street.
Dog and Duck.
The Rocks, and then Cargo Club.
Cargo Club.
Wednesday nights, Cargo Club. This is many moons ago.
Do you remember PJ O'Brien's being a thing? Ladies' night at PJ's? That was big.
No, I went to something at Marion. Shenanigans? No.
I've heard of these things.
Yeah, I'm a bit older than you. So
no, people used to do jokes about it instead, and I would not like the Aqaba had like it once a week.
Oh, Ark was a huge techno night once a week.
It was a techno upstairs at the Aqaba?
Yeah,
with the straw ceiling.
I saw Carl Cox mix there. Yeah, 100%.
So weird. That does not scream techno.
I know,
as a venue.
but it was. It
they
was
used to do Tuesdays stand-up comedy at the Aqaba.
Really?
400-seat room, 26 people.
Well, I saw Amos
terrible
gig.
He did
at the Aqaba.
He was great.
It was really good, actually.
Yeah, because it was sold. When it's full, it's great. But on a cold winter Tuesday, with drongos coming in.
No, it was full. And then afterwards, we went to. He goes, "Oh, I'm starving," and he was trying to make out time before he was catching an international flight.
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, what do you want me for?" He goes, "Well, because you can hang out with me." I was like, "Okay." So we went into Chinatown, wanting to get something to eat, like at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. We got in there, and they said, "Got 1 minute to order." And we're like, "Oh shit!" So we ordered, and I kid you not, the food came out in 2 minutes.
No. They could do that all the time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And he looked at me and I went, "Jesus."
Where did you go? With Yingers?
No, it was no, it wasn't open. It was just down the road. Had some hanging ducks in the window.
Well, that does not narrow it down at all. Before I forget, I'm the performing. On the Amos gig at the Aqaba, we don't have a 1,000-seat venue. That's something that if anyone was going to invest in,
what do you mean?
So the American comedians come through for a tour, or anyone who wants to play a 1,000-seater, which is like a normal number. It's above where Amos was at. If Amos came back now, he might do a 1,000-seater.
Yeah.
Your options are Her Majesty's Theatre, which is booked out 2 years in advance, and they all do. It's all like Mary Poppins and stuff. Or
how big's that?
That'd be 1,200. That's roughly the right size, but it's super expensive, and they won't give it to a touring act, of which there are like 8, 9 coming right now just through the company that I'm working with. And the other one is the entertainment centre, where they used to do the basketball, I think, in the theatre.
Yeah.
It's the worst space for performing. It's like a big school hall. Have you been in the AEC theatre? It's disgraceful. It has no business being a space. Adelaide is, people who book shows here will skip Adelaide, not because people don't want to do a show, but because there is no 1,000-seat room that they can book.
Next to the new restaurant, Kin on Angus Street.
The Royalty.
Yeah. How big's that?
It's only like 400 to 600. It's quite small. I love it. It's great. But if they could be bigger, that would work.
Okay. All right. That's something to think on. Well,
and they often are being used for calisthenics.
Okay, dance and cheer.
That's the Calisthenics Centre. Calisthenics bought it.
Yeah.
I did my show there. I've never seen so much glitter ground into a stage before. Backstage, only women's toilets, and 100 of them. Not one mention.
Do you have any glitter jokes?
Gary Glitter?
No.
No, I'm just joking.
Glitter joke?
No, do you have a glitter joke?
Oh, go on.
Gay anthrax?
No, like...
Because it kills fish. And
Does it?
Glitter.
No, glitter.
Yeah, after the Mardi Gras, it goes into the sewer system and it kills fish.
Glitter, you know what? I get punchlines wrong. And I tell you, that's when Nat goes, you can't give away the punchline. Like, there's a glitter joke, and it's something along the lines of when someone's talking about saying, everyone's getting into something these days. And, my wife, she's getting into glitter, but glitter doesn't go away. It's like herpes that never goes away.
No, I see what you...
There's something there.
No, you're right. You're not wrong.
You're
not wrong. I want to hear the way your wife tells the joke.
She tells it far better.
There's something there.
I very rarely rang people for that. That's why that was actually good fun. If I rang her and said, "Babe, what's a glitter joke?"
Yeah,
she would nail it.
It's like herpes. The herpes of craft supplies.
Yeah, like someone there's something there that just anyway. All right, so look, enough about herpes. A bit close to the
Is that too close?
Truth. Okay. All right. So these were meant to be. I've been trying to do shorter podcasts. I'm shit at doing short podcasts.
You don't edit them?
No, this is straight cut format.
Nice.
Yeah, look, you don't know how to edit.
The TikTok clips will hopefully be.
The TikTok clips will come from that, but that's if we do have some TikTok snippets there. Put it on a poster. Oh, there's all the jokes here. Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't know what's happening.
Okay. No, so we do a bunch of things from it, but no, we don't edit. The only reason you'll hear a cut in this edit is because something stuffed up with the recording of a little bit of it. So, but no, we don't. But everyone I get on here asks them the same questions, and I don't know, maybe one day in years to come it'll be good, but I'm sort of getting to the stage where I stop doing it. Okay, if you weren't doing what you're doing now, money wasn't an option, what would you be doing?
Money wasn't an option, or money didn't matter?
It's no option.
Okay, I don't worry about money.
Yeah, you're a billionaire, quadzillionaire, money doesn't matter. What would you be doing?
I think I'm not allowed to do the thing I'm doing now?
Yeah, absolutely you can say.
I just keep doing the thing I'm doing now.
It's funny, so many people on here say that. Exactly the same.
No, because money is an option, and I was studying law. I got into a good uni degree. I've actively dropped out of jobs that pay a lot more money than I have. This is I'm living the low money lifestyle.
It's the equation
for what I could earn. Yeah.
I can do something I don't like and earn really good money.
Yeah.
Or do something I love and not quite earn that money yet.
I would have to earn so much money to make that. I'm not saying there's no amount of money I couldn't earn that would bring me happiness compared to what I got now, but it would have to be big, big yacht money. I'd have to have a huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about yachts. Weren't you planning to sail around the world?
I'm still trying to buy a boat. Yeah. This is part of the catamaran plan. That's why I wrote the script. So my hope is that I get on the back end, even if I can just hold on to 10% and it's a $5 million movie, it's enough to buy a boat.
There's a lot riding on this here.
I got other plans as well. We're running an art auction, October 13. We've got so many great artists. We've upgraded. It was so big and successful last year. We've got a bigger venue this time. We've got more artists. It's all popping off.
You just got to invite people with money.
I believe you might have been someone was outbid. You were outbid by members of your staff who formed a conglomerate and bought a Pierre for $5,000.
I wouldn't have bought that.
I think it's worth more now.
Of course it is. It's always more.
They're hip kids. They know what's going down. But I think this year we have a Po Ling Yao. I'm very excited.
A what?
You know Po from MasterChef?
Oh, yeah.
She's a great artist. Mm-hmm. I just called her on the phone through a friend of a friend. I was like, can I have some art? And she said, yeah. I was like, I'm talking to Po. I was so excited.
Have you tried her chips?
I haven't tried her chips. Have you got her chips in store?
I got her chips here.
I had her wedding. I'll take them. I'll take them. I had a wedding cake of hers recently. She, through a friend of a friend, she made a wedding cake. It was unbelievable. She's a real talent. And frankly, the fact she didn't win MasterChef, that I didn't eat any of the food. I always thought that was wrong. Yeah, I remember watching that as a kid and being like, there's no way this Julie woman should be winning. She's not as cool as Po.
Oh, mate, the chips are pretty good, I'll be honest.
I've tried the chips.
Yeah, they're good.
I've tried all the other chips.
Well, I'll give you the chips so you can take with you. You can eat now.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, they'll be coming. Okay.
Can I say I like that you have all the Japanese coffees in a can?
Oh.
Coles Woolies, they just do 2, 3. You've got 8 in every drugstore. Ones I didn't even know they had. Purple ones.
Yeah, mocha.
Yeah. I'm loving it.
You salted caramel?
Usually I just go the double espresso.
Blue.
Yeah, but I'll be having the mocha. I love the Japanese coffee in a can. That's the middle class Red Bull.
You know why the cans are so thick?
Japanese steel is different. No, wait, is this a joke? Is this about herpes?
No, because they heat them up as well. So in Japan, you get a lot of the vending machines are hot, so the coffee comes out hot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you can just heat that up?
Yeah.
And still have it?
Yeah, I don't know about microwave heat, but yeah, you can definitely.
I think that would cause other problems.
Yeah, but
I don't want to get in the way of the questions. If you're a busy man. I've taken up so much of your time. I've had a great time.
No, this is what it's all about. This is the best part of my job.
I don't know. Those cars look like a lot of fun.
They're that's from doing proper work.
It all builds the brand. It all works together.
Yeah, some people appreciate it. A lot don't. If there was one thing that you could do that would have an impact on the world, the whole world.
Yep.
What would that be?
I would get rid of, sorry to make it supermarket related, but Western Star Butter have their product next to a spreadable not butter, right? But the logos are the same. And for years, I was buying the spreadable stuff thinking I was having butter. It's not. It's some margarine spread that they concoct.
Joking,
I didn't know. It just said soft Western Star. I didn't know it wasn't butter.
Oh, no.
Whereas Mainland, in their spreadable one, that's a butter. That's just a butter in
I can't believe it's not butter.
I would stop Western Star from perpetrating this lie. Not quite a lie, but this ruse.
Western Star Bega.
I'd have a go at Western Star. Yep.
All right. Well, I'll put in a good word for you.
I appreciate that. I love fancy butter.
What do you? If there was a young James McCann out there trying to come up the ranks, wants to be a writer or a comedian,
yes.
What worldly advice could you give him that you now know that you didn't know when you were 16?
Stay away from loose women. They're trying to get you off the right path. You just hold out and you wait till you find your wife, and you won't have so much distress. No, I would say. Stay fit. I would say watch out. It's hard to lose weight, easy to gain it. Just stay on top of it now. Don't make that error. I would say work harder on your chess fundamentals. It's harder to get, there are parts of the game that you can't commit to memory as much when you get older. I would say join the Catholic Church now. There's so much more. Don't wait until you're almost 30 to become a Latin Mass Catholic. Get over there pronto. Start having grace affect you immediately. I'd say learn a foreign language, and a real one that's useful, like French or Spanish. I would say...
this is lots of worldly advice. I love it.
I mean, I had... By 16, I think I quit video games when I was 21. I just decided I wouldn't play them anymore. And that was maybe the best thing I did for my brain. I think they're worse than hard drugs. Because people on heroin have fun stories. But people who play a lot of video games do not.
You know what? I've never looked at it like that, but you're onto something there.
They're spooky.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to call Andrew back later. Sorry. My friend's calling me. He's a masseuse.
Ooh.
I'd say get a friend who's a masseuse.
Look at this.
What, you showing how buff you are?
No,
you're exploding out of the shirt?
It's swollen. Look. Swollen?
What have you been doing with that arm? Don't answer.
It's
It's
swollen.
not swollen. What do you mean swollen?
It's swollen.
It's a muscle, isn't it?
No, it's not. You feel it. It feels funny.
Do you need to go to a doctor?
Probably.
Okay.
It's a bit numb.
Always go to the doctor.
Nah, never. I never.
I had to get a late stage adult circumcision. Always go to the doctor.
Fuck.
No, it was better. It's better.
I had to cut some off.
Oh, some had to be removed, yeah. But I believe
Just
in
a couple
circumcision.
of inches.
Yeah. Yes, I've had my cock shortened.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I was getting too full of myself. I needed to bring my ego back down to a human level.
I'm all for a circumcision. We have these discussions all the time. If I had a
For
boy,
the daughters?
which I didn't, well, don't they call? Fucking no, I don't even want to think what they call it. It's not what they would call it for kids, but women, the adults, they call it vajuling or something.
Vajazzling?
Vajazzling, yeah. Well, they get some work done on their vagina.
No, labiaplasty.
Yeah. No, they
people
can
have that
make
done.
it a bit smaller to make the guy feel more important.
I say make it bigger to make the guy feel like he has to work harder to achieve greatness.
Oh, okay. So we have one last question.
Okay.
And it's nothing to do with that last bit of conversation. It just happens to be that I'm meant to be doing an hour. We've done 2. If you died,
Yep.
and came back as a board game or computer game,
Yep.
what game would best describe James McCann's life?
Have you ever played Diplomacy?
No, but fire away.
It's like Risk without any dice.
Okay, yeah.
So instead of dice, you just have arguing.
Is this made up? Is this
No,
real
it's a real game.
Yeah.
It's called Diplomacy. You start out in World War I, and it's a weird negotiation with 7 people who are your friends at the start of the night and not by the end. That's my favourite one. I don't know if that's what my life would be like, but I love that game. Maybe my life would be like Monopoly. Yeah. You start losing early, and it's impossible to ever make it back in the long run.
Well,
I hope my life doesn't end up like Cluedo. A man kills me in my library with a candlestick. That would suck.
we've had Monopoly as an answer.
What's your one for the board game?
For me?
The video game, yeah.
I'd go with Scrabble because sometimes I say things that are really profound and important, and sometimes I say things that don't make sense, and sometimes I'll make up words.
And force other people to accept them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
So I reckon Scrabble would describe me because you don't know what you're going to get, and every time it's different.
I'm trying to think of a better answer for myself. Scrabble's good.
Yeah.
I love chess.
Yeah.
I'm a big, do you play chess?
Yeah, I was the captain or vice captain of school chess when I was a kid.
If you ever have me back, I'll bring a chessboard.
I would be very terrible at that now. But yes, I tried it on the plane. You know, you get the
I would love to win a game of chess against one of our greatest business minds in South. That would be a big kick for me. I just turn up here and I'm...
Well, thank God there's none here. We have in our business a Scrabble champion, and he just went over to the Worlds in Las Vegas as one of 200 people in the world competing.
It's a World Scrabble tournament?
100%.
Yeah.
And
what does he do for the business?
He's a project manager of one of the projects, but he's got a good architecture of IT architecture as well. So he actually, I was jokingly going, "Oh yeah, I'll do a Scrabble," and he's got Scrabble in the boot of his car.
I'm not that far gone.
So he is prepared. Yeah. So
I was really hoping it was like a shelf stacker.
Nah.
Someone who's just like...
Nah,
everything else is gone in his life except Scrabble. It's like American Beauty, but for Scrabble.
Yeah, nah. We got many amazing, talented people. In fact, I think I should start a show of amazingly talented people at Drake's, but they're not their Drake work is the talent.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. I mean, you've got good people. You've got charismatic people in store right now.
Yeah, we have to, we've got 5,500 team members, and there's so many amazing stories.
Where does that put you in terms of employers in South Australia? Do you know that
we'd have to be one of the biggest, if not, well, Coles and Woolworths obviously would have more. But independent-wise, there wouldn't be anyone near us, I don't think.
Well, look, anything I can do to help you destroy the enemy and to ingratiate myself. The Foodland people haven't invited me in to give them my ideas.
Yep. So these ideas are gold. No doubt Jason's going to ring me back. We're going to tee this up, hand-shandy business going.
How do you really feel about the feature film?
Well, it's got a lot of good keynotes, and I reckon V will hit us up for the cash and we'll be able to get it going.
All right. I'm going to take that at face value. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
V, I'll be on the phone every day trying to sort it out.
Yeah, I think so. Jack he'll do some editing. And your mate can do the cinematography.
I'm happy to have some of the street rappers in the picture. Find roles for them.
I'd be curious to see what this glove does. So once I have a look at the script, you know what? I've never read a script.
It's I'm just going to make it Michael Jackson's glove. I think, but it's the glove. I think that's the glove.
It's special.
Is it a glove?
Yeah, it's special. All right. Well, there you have it.
Thank you for having me on the show. I've had such a nice time.
It's been a pleasure. I knew it'd be good. I'd definitely love to get you back again because with your line of questioning, we answered none of us our stuff, and I absolutely love that. The free form, the Shark Tank. There's so many things here that
I've got a magazine for you that fell out of my bag. That's yours.
Okay.
It's Agony magazine. I want you to have it.
Did you write this?
I wrote one of the things in it.
Wow.
Just about how much I don't like the English.
This looks a bit religious for my liking, you know?
It does look quite religious. Yeah, it's a lot of people from the Latin Mass have worked on it, but it's not exclusively. It's like, you're going to love it. It was just in my bag. And I thought it felt rude not to hand it over. Agony magazine.
Well, I'll give you a packet of chips.
Oh, the Poling Yao chips?
Yeah.
What is this? Like a...
Yeah. It's beef rendang is one of the flavours, and a crispy honey soy.
Is there another person doing a chip as well that I can compare it?
Well, the Red Rock series always go to different chefs, so you'll be able to do that. Doritos have got their chef series as well.
I'm so angry with Doritos at the moment.
Fire away.
You know how sometimes they'll have it like a charity?
Yeah. Yeah.
The Doritos charity at the moment is suicide prevention. It's called Reach Out.
Yeah. What?
Well, I don't know how good they think their Doritos are, but they're not that good.
You reckon it's a mismatch?
No one's standing next to a building with a guy about to jump off going, don't do it. There's so many more Doritos for you to eat. It's insane. What do Doritos have to do with... I bet a lot of suicide notes are smeared with orange cheese supreme.
Well, that's when they used to have good flavour.
You think they've decreased the flavour?
100%.
Is this part of inflation? That they keep the price maybe the same and the quality goes down?
I think it's been a thing, but you're starting to see...
The Snickers wrappers...
Yeah, gone
much smaller. It's all recyclable.
It's gone paper.
The bags.
Yep.
All right, here's a big... one time, because it would be wrong not to do it.
Which bag?
Okay, you go to Coles. Not you, obviously, but other people go to Coles. It used to be they'd give you a plastic bag.
Yeah.
Big environmentalist push from the big supermarkets going, we don't do that anymore. We're going to start charging for bags, and they're going to be, if you want to pay a plastic bag, you got to pay the premium.
Yeah, well...
Then they get rid of the plastic bags.
Legislation.
But they pushed for the legislation. They said, we'll cooperate. I remember it. There was a big project push.
Yeah.
And then that came in here. But now it's all paper bags, and you still have to pay for them.
Yeah, the paper bags cost more than the plastic bags.
But how have they managed to take something that was on them and they've managed to put it on the customer?
It's easy because people will just do what they're told.
Well, we need to rise up. Blood alone turns the wheels of history and have a little ruckus.
100% agreement on this. I think this comes down to your...
Have you seen the Cadbury's product? This is my last one. It's called More.
Yeah.
It's the smallest. More. I think it's called More. It's Cadbury's, and they're
Moro?
No, it's just called like More. It's like because they've got more stuff in it, but they've brought out it's a smaller block of chocolate.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the hedgehog. The hedgehog.
I'm livid at the making the sizes smaller.
Yeah, but that's got more product in it. It's going to cost more. That's what it means. It means cost more.
It always costs more. Everything's costing more. The milk out here. I will say, I had your orange juice. I had the Drake's orange juice. Yeah. I was blown over because it's no one else's store orange juice is actual. It separates into two bits.
Yeah.
There's the pulpy bit and the other bit.
Yeah, you have to give it a shake.
Yeah, because it's actually oranges.
Yeah, real oranges.
No one else is doing that with their orange juice. I saw that and I thought that's a beautiful thing.
It's because you don't make enough money on it.
On orange juice? Yeah. No, I remember when I used to work at McDonald's, they would never want you having orange juice as your break drink. Coke? It's always Coke because they got to pay for the orange juice. Orange juice is the markup.
McDonald's was my calling, so I reckon I would have been good at McDonald's. I reckon I would have.
As a youth, you never got to work at McDonald's?
Yeah, no.
The processes are outstanding.
I know.
Yeah. It's not too late for you to go and
I know, there's
undercover boss at McDonald's.
There's still something here for me, I think. What do you think?
At McDonald's?
Yeah, like I've actually put out there for McHappy Day.
Yeah.
Call me. I want to work.
Have they not gotten in contact?
No.
You got to get in contact with the franchisees, the individual ones.
Oh.
Head office is not going to.
Mate, I shouldn't have to chase free work, should I? All I want is a McDonald's.
Well, that's your job. You should be calling the McDonald's.
All I want is a McDonald's Gold VIP card. Free McDonald's.
Wait, is that a real thing?
Yeah, I used to have one in the old days. The cops used to get them.
What? Is this a real thing?
It's a thing.
I've never heard of this. How did you get one?
Got one.
Okay.
Yeah. 50% off there's the 50% off gold card.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
And what, they just have to award it to you?
Yeah. I was at school, so I would have been year 10 when I was catching the train.
But it's not for life?
It wasn't, no. They ended up saying no more. And they probably could tell we weren't in the services as well.
They could tell you weren't a policeman?
Well, we were buying it. I said it was my brother.
Yeah.
But same thing.
They
didn't care. It's not their business. Yeah.
You want to get the staff to buy in, you know?
Well, it's all bored.
How do you feel about...
I used to shout everyone frigging McDonald's.
How do you feel about employees having stock options?
It's a great idea.
Okay.
I wish I could create stock options so they could buy into what we're doing because, what we're doing now is just the start of what Drake's is going to be in the future.
We can't talk about the battle plan on air. We have to stop. I don't want you to give away industry secrets.
I don't want people to hear the battle plan to take over the country. So we'll have to wrap it up.
All right.
Now.
All right.
See you later.